Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of PG Show. Today, I want to talk about UFC 303. Conor McGregor is officially out of that fight. The fight with Chandler is off, or I shouldn't say off. It is postponed. They're still hoping to get it done, so it's not totally canceled. But we have a totally new main event and a totally new co-main event, and actually even a new third fight. So let's get into it. First of all, now we have a new light heavyweight title fight. Alex Pereira defending the belt against Jiri for the second time. Really excited for this fight. I thought it was a great first fight around. I'd rather them get full training camps, but anytime you get it from Pereira's perspective, anytime you get a chance to headline a pay-per-view, I think you have to take it. There's so much money involved in being a champion. A champion gets pay-per-view points, which you only get if you're a champion, which is a huge point, which is a huge deal. So it's at least probably $1 million payday, if not multi-million-dollar payday for him. And for Parachka, you just can't turn down title fights. When you get a title fight, you have to take it no matter what situation you're in. If you're healthy, regardless of training camp, you have to take it. So both those guys get a great opportunity to headline a pay-per-view. And on top of that, I think they gain a lot of respect from the fans for doing this, which I think is very important. From the Conor and Chandler perspective, I think Chandler is right to wait for this fight. A lot of people are trolling him, but so many people are talking about the payday from the UFC. Forget the payday from the UFC for a second. On top of the money he's getting from the UFC, you think about the amount of Instagram followers he's going to get, which is a huge deal. I mean, he can double his following. He can get into the millions, especially if he knocks Conor out. But even just being in this fight, the press conference, the build-up, the sponsorships, we think about, oh, he's 38. That's relatively young from a life perspective. I know as a fighter, that's a little bit old, but he's got a long way to go. He's still a young guy. He's very marketable. He's in great shape. You think about the gym endorsements, the workout endorsements, the supplements. Living in Nashville, he's a conservative guy, not to get political, but a lot of these branding deals are, kind of about your lifestyle, being a religious guy, being Christian, which is all positive. I think could really help him from a marketability standpoint. He probably won't be fighting for the title again, but this is just a huge opportunity for him. I think he's very smart to wait. And at this point, definitely wait now. You're so far into it. The dumbest thing he can do, in my opinion, is to take a fight, with someone else and make, whatever he makes, which is a good amount of money, and lose the Conor fight. Just wait for the Conor fight, because there are always fights that he can take if the Conor fight falls through. I think you give him one more chance. If Conor can't make it through another training camp and gets hurt again or pulls out again, then you move on. But at this point, I think you're right to wait. From the Conor perspective, I think he should be lucky that he has someone like Chandler who's willing to wait for this fight. Chandler is the perfect opponent for Conor. I'm not an MMA expert, but just from my perspective watching this sport, this is the kind of opponent that Conor loves. A shorter, stockier opponent who he can kind of keep range with, who he knows is going to charge forward and try to make it an exciting firefight, who probably isn't going to use his wrestling unless he's very desperate. And he just knows he's going to be able to bait Chandler into making this an exciting fight. He's going to be able to play mind games with him leading up to the fight. While Chandler has been in some big fights, I mean, he was the Bellator champ. He has not been in a fight of this magnitude in the UFC. Even his title fight against Oliveira, this will be a whole different thing. With Conor probably playing mind games. He's already probably playing mind games. Even though he was hurt, I still think he's been playing mind games with Chandler, not giving him a definitive answer. So yeah, I think from their point of view, I'm still hoping to get that fight. Even though there's not huge title implications, I still want to get a title fight. I mean, a Conor fight. I always want to get a Conor fight anytime I can get it. The other fights on the card that we've now gone, Diego Lopez against Brian Ortega. That's a very interesting fight. Kind of surprised Ortega took this. Diego Lopez is very, very good. When you're thinking of a fight, you want to fight as from a business wise, very, very high money making potential, but very, very low risk. This is the total opposite for Ortega. Diego Lopez is not very well known unless you're a UFC fan. Probably not well known to the outside world, but is very, very good. Very, very good. Like championship level good, in my opinion. Can do it all. He's got all three things, in my opinion. He's got punching power / boxing skills. He can stand up. He's got good ground game wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and he's also got the physique, the power. There's a lot of guys who have the first two, but they don't really have the muscle or the build. You got to have all three to be a champion, and he's got all three. So I'm surprised Ortega took this. This is a tough matchup for him, but I'm very excited for that fight. And then the last fight, which was originally Jamal Hill against Khalil Roundtree, then turned into Jamal Hill against Carlos Olberg, has now turned into Carlos Olberg against Anthony Smith, which is another good fight. That is kind of like a gatekeeping type fight for Olberg. But if Anthony Smith beats him, he's all of a sudden, I think that would be his third win in a row or fourth win in a row. But he's all of a sudden put a little bit of a streak together, and I know he wants one last title shot. So we'll see. He's at least, if he can win this fight, at least gets himself into the potential to do that. And last but not least, is this? People are saying this is a better card than the Conor card. I'll say yes, from a fight perspective, I think that's probably true. But from a business perspective, that's not true. I mean, the UFC is going to sell a lot less pay-per-views, even bringing in Pereira. Conor is a lock for 1 million buys, and I don't know what this will do, but it'll do a lot less than Conor would have done. So that's kind of my take on this card. I still think it's a very good card, but we got a long way to go. Hopefully, we'll get Conor fighting. I still got to think about who I'm going to take in these fights. I'm not sure yet. I'll put in some gambling picks when we get closer to the card. Thanks, guys, for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.